Every year, thousands of elderly residents report eerie encounters in nursing homes, whispers in the night, unseen hands brushing against them, shadows that move when no one's looking. But what if I told you some of these reports don't just fade away? What if the hauntings are real? Deep in the heart of insert location, hidden away from the world, sits an abandoned nursing home with a past so disturbing that few dare to step inside. Once a place of care and comfort, this facility is now infamous for something far more sinister. A place where the living once sought refuge, but where the dead refused to leave. For decades, strange occurrences plagued this place. Residents speaking of shadowy figures watching them sleep, nurses quitting their jobs overnight, staff members refusing to enter certain rooms alone, and then, the disappearances started. Patients were found dead under mysterious circumstances. Some were discovered sitting upright in their beds, eyes wide open, as if they had seen something so terrifying, it stopped their hearts cold. Despite multiple investigations, no logical explanations were ever found. And when the final resident left, the spirits remained. Tonight I'm not just here to tell you these stories, I'm here to experience them firsthand. I'll be stepping into the very rooms where the most terrifying encounters took place, and I won't be leaving until I uncover the truth. Before we step inside, if you love terrifying true stories, haunted locations, and uncovering the secrets of the paranormal, make sure to subscribe to Mind of Nightmares and hit that notification bell because trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. This isn't just another abandoned building with a few urban legends. The stories from inside these walls go far beyond what most would call normal hauntings. The people who lived and worked here didn't just see ghosts. They felt them, they feared them, and some may have even suffered because of them. Many former staff members refuse to speak about their experiences here, but those who have shared their stories tell of unexplained screams echoing through the halls in the dead of night, wheelchairs moving on their own, and call lights flickering from rooms that haven't been occupied in decades. But it's not just objects moving. Residents, some suffering from dementia, others completely lucid, would often whisper about the tall man watching them from the corner of their rooms. They spoke of cold hands touching their faces as they slept. One nurse even reported seeing deep, fresh scratch marks appear on an elderly patient's back, while she was sitting alone in her wheelchair. Former nurse, we tried to tell ourselves it was just the building settling, just old pipes creaking. But when you see doors slamming on their own, when you hear your name whispered in an empty room, when you feel someone breathing on your neck and there's no one there, how do you explain that? One of the most chilling reports comes from the basement morgue. This was where bodies were kept before being transported, but some say not all of them left. Staff would hear knocking coming from inside the morgue freezers, voices crying for help, and worst of all, on multiple occasions the heavy steel doors were found standing wide open, even when they were locked tight the night before. So here's my challenge. I'm going to investigate these claims. I'll explore the rooms where the most horrifying encounters took place. I'll spend time alone in the basement morgue, and by the end of the night I'll either have answers, or I'll become just another story whispered about in these halls. To understand why this nursing home is one of the most haunted places in the country, we have to go back to the stories, the tragedies, and the secrets that refuse to be buried. Margaret Holloway was one of the longest-staying residents in this nursing home. By all accounts, she was quiet, kind, and well-loved by the staff. But something changed in the last few weeks of her life. Nurses say she became withdrawn, refusing to sleep, mumbling to herself about the dark thing in her room. Former nurse, I remember checking on Margaret one night. She looked at me eyes wide and said, "It's coming for me tonight. Don't let it take me." I tried to reassure her, but she just grabbed my wrist so tight it left marks. She told me it had been watching her for weeks. The next morning, Margaret was found unresponsive in her bed, her face frozen in an expression of pure terror. The cause of death? Officially listed as cardiac arrest. But the staff, they believe something else took her. If there's one place in this building that even the bravest staff members refuse to enter alone, it's here, the basement morgue. A place meant to house the dead before they were transported out. But some say, not all of them left. Former orderly, no matter how many times we locked that door, we'd come back and find it standing wide open. The locks weren't broken. There was no one else in the building. And yet, it kept happening, over and over. One night, a maintenance worker was sent down alone to fix a blown fuse. He never spoke about what happened, but his co-workers say he ran out, white as a sheet, shaking uncontrollably. He quit the next day and refused to ever talk about what he saw. While the hauntings might be modern, the terror began decades ago. In 1974, a fire broke out on the second floor of this facility. It spread rapidly, trapping 5 elderly residents in their rooms. They pounded on the doors, screaming for help, but the flames were too fast. By the time firefighters arrived, it was too late. Ever since that night, reports of ghostly figures wandering the halls, the smell of burning flesh, and distant cries for help have plagued this nursing home. Some staff members even claim to hear knocking on the walls, always in sets of 5. Now that we know the terrifying history of this place, it's time to experience it for ourselves. I'll be spending the night inside this haunted nursing home using spirit boxes, night vision cameras, and EVPs to make contact. If the spirits want to be heard, tonight they'll have their chance. Ever since that night, reports of ghostly figures wandering the halls, the smell of burning flesh, and distant cries for help have plagued this nursing home. Some staff members even claim to hear knocking on the walls, always in sets of 5. Now that we know the terrifying history of this place, it's time to experience it for ourselves. I'll be spending the night inside this haunted nursing home using spirit boxes, night vision cameras, and EVPs to make contact. If the spirits want to be heard, tonight they'll have their chance. Now it's time to see if the spirits of this haunted nursing home are still here. We've brought along some of the most advanced paranormal investigation tools: EMF detectors, a spirit box, thermal cameras, and an EVP recorder. If something is lurking in the shadows, we're going to find it. Let's break down the tools we'll be using tonight. EMF detector measures electromagnetic fields, often associated with paranormal activity. Spirit box rapidly scans radio frequencies, allowing spirits to manipulate sound waves to communicate. Thermal camera detects temperature fluctuations, often revealing unseen presences. EVP recorder captures electronic voice phenomena, sounds that are only heard upon playback. We're already picking up readings. This means there's some kind of energy field present. But is it paranormal? Let's keep going. If there's anyone here with us, can you give us a sign? Did you hear that? It just said, "Help me." Who are we speaking to? Why do you need help? This spirit, whoever it is, seems to be connected to the fire. Could it be one of the victims? Now we're heading into the morgue, the most active part of this entire building. This is where bodies were kept before being transported out. And according to staff, some of them never left. What the hell was that? The temperature just dropped almost 30 degrees. That's a classic sign of a spirit's presence. We just captured a direct message. Something or someone wants us gone. And judging by the intensity of this EVP, they mean it. This is undeniable proof. We weren't alone in that building. Something was watching us. What we experienced tonight was beyond chilling. Disembodied voices, unexplained temperature drops, and a terrifying shadow figure caught on camera. If this nursing home wasn't haunted before, it definitely is now. The spirits of Oak Ridge Nursing Home are still here. Whether they're trapped, seeking justice, or simply unwilling to move on, we may never know. If you want more terrifying investigations like this, make sure to subscribe to Mind of Nightmares. Hit the like button if you made it through without turning on the lights, and tell us in the comments, would you spend a night in this haunted nursing home? Until next time, stay in the light.